G'day guys and gal, 99.9999% of all demons are created via one of the Chaos Gods shaving shards off themselves and forming them into more or less smaller, weaker versions of themselves, except for Nurgle, who I assume shits out his demons. Their absolute loyalty to their god is based on the fact that they are literally a part of them. Bar one or two strange examples, like Scarbrand sucker punching Khorne and getting his ass whooped for it, a demon is unwaveringly loyal to their patron god and fulfills their will to the letter. However, a very small select few demons do not fall under this umbrella. Demons whose creation did not involve the Chaos Gods or involved all four of them simultaneously. Demons who aren't sworn to a higher power, thus in many respects follow their own will, which occasionally brings them into direct confrontation with the Chaos Gods themselves. But how and why do these undivided demons exist, and who are they? Before we get started, Friday baby. God damn, I'm excited for the weekend. I'm so burnt out that I honestly think stasis would be good for me right now. As usually, we're celebrating the launch of a brand new major mini, the Last Lunar Wolf, a stunning legend from ancient myth, a warrior who stood for what was right even as all of his brothers abandoned him. This model comes with two head variants, an unhelmeted head variant to see his handsome face, as well as a helmeted version which I absolutely love. It's a mix of multiple styles, and I believe the model awesomely captures who the Last Lunar Wolf was. For scaling, he works for both Heresy and 40k, well proportioned and scaled to be somewhere in between the two styles. On top of that, we only have 24 hours before we choose the winner of the Ravi 2 launch competition, in which anyone who has bought a Golden Guardian model enters in to win this amazingly painted non-metallic metal Ravi 2. We'll also be delisting Ravi 1 soon, so now's the best time to pick up Kitten, Oriel, the Shadow Warden, the Golden Dreamer, the Golden Dreadlord, Ravi 1, Ravi 2, or the Golden Guardian bundle for your chance to take this bad boy home. We also have a lot of pre-painted Ravi 2s ready to ship, so if you want this legend already done up, then that's an option as well there. We got options, guys. But yeah, the Last Lunar Wolf is live, link is below. Today we'll go over all the known undivided demons of chaos, detailing how they were created, what they have done, and why they are undivided. Let's get into it. There are many ways for a Chaos Demon of Undivided to appear. Sometimes it takes the rare agreement of all four Chaos Gods to create or ascend one. Other times it just happens and the Chaos Gods are like, oh okay, sure. Probably the most famous Demon of Undivided is Be'lakor, the Dark Master, Lord of Shadow. He's arguably the first mortal to be elevated by all four Chaos Gods to become a Demon Prince of Undivided. See, he was such a ruthless, terrible and powerful mortal that none of the Chaos Gods would let the others claim him, so they instead poured their combined power into him to make him almost a Chaos God in his own right. With this power, he conquered entire systems, driving many races to extinction for his own entertainment. However, the Chaos Gods rarely agree for long, and eventually they got sick of trying to bend Be'lakor to their own devices, especially since Be'lakor got extremely arrogant and he followed his own will, often defying the will of the Chaos Gods. Since none of them owned him, they could not directly punish him. However, eventually they all decided to put their focus elsewhere, ascending demon princes that were only loyal to them. Without the big four jerking him off, Be'lakor's power greatly diminished, although he is still wildly powerful. Be'lakor now fights to reclaim his lost power and glory, always manipulating others to achieve his own ends. His ultimate goal is to ascend to become the 5th Chaos God, something he is currently fighting Vashtorr over. Speaking of Vashtorr, let's speak about Vashtorr. It's not entirely clear what Vashtorr is exactly, however we can definitely consider him some sort of demon, and as no Chaos God owns him due to his prestigious position as the Master of the Forge of Souls, we can also consider him undivided, although it's probably more accurate to describe him as unaligned as opposed to serving all four Chaos Gods. Vashtorr is seemingly new to the setting, however the Forge of Souls is not, a mighty warp forge that creates a lot of arms and armor for Chaos, as well as their soul grinders, powerful demon machine hybrids. He represents the aspects of invention, curiosity, and creation, getting empowered whenever something marvelous is made, like the Primarchs Marines or the Necrons. As such, he is closer to a demigod than a demon, however until his plan for ascension pans out, he isn't quite there, especially as evident by him matching Be'lakor in power. Vashtorr is very old and as such has grown bored, wishing to ascend to become the 5th Chaos God, which is why he is suddenly very active in the galaxy, whereas before he was happy to remain safe in the Forge of Souls, tolling away. It's unclear where he came from or how he was made, if he was an aspect created by the warp from the combined souls of countless inventors and scientists, or if he himself was a scientist that became a demon prince. I think it's the former, but I suppose we'll find out eventually. One of the more interesting undivided boys now, although to be honest they're all pretty interesting, is the Drach'nyen, Ender of Empires. Unlike some undivided, who were elevated by all four Chaos Gods who agreed on one of their rare occasions, Drach'nyen is a fundamental part of the universe, forever tied to the human race as he was born from the echoes of the first ever murder. He takes the form of this abyss use of teeth, tentacles, and nails, however can modify his form at will, giving himself wings, more armor, more eyes, and so on. He's also extremely good at possession, able to possess the corpses of Custodes, Titan Princeps, and even a mechanized Mega Death Machine that was the Mechanicus' version of a Primarch. Amazingly, as the Drach'nyen is born from a fundamental part of humanity, he isn't really sentient. He doesn't have some grand design or is able to talk. He just knows that he likes killing people and really wants to kill the Emperor. He's described more as a highly intelligent predator animal acting on instinct rather than a schemer like Be'lakor. He was mighty, tearing his way through Custodes and Sisters of Silence like chaff, and even faced the Emperor himself. The Drach'nyen managed to impale the Emperor, wounding him and even drawing his holy blood. In return, the Emperor could not destroy Drach'nyen as it was tied to the soul of the human race itself, so he turned it into a sword, effectively trapping it within itself. He then impaled the sword in Undivided, who absorbed it and ran off into the webway, removing the demon from the battle. Abaddon would eventually find the blade and claim it as his own, with the lore implying that Undivided allowed him to take it willingly. Some people think this is because the custodian Ra eventually fell to chaos, however Drach'nyen itself admitted it had next to no chance of corrupting Ra even when inside him, so I believe it was more so a way to keep Drach'nyen trapped, as if Drach'nyen was freed it could cause untold damage, but trapped in the blade by someone like Abaddon who would never free it, it could never threaten the Emperor again as a full-on demon. Either way, a spicy demon who is now a spicy demon sword. Now for a demon you may know if you've read some of the Inquisition books, Cherubael. Cherubael is a sassy motherfucker, probably due to the frustration of going from galactically feared super demon to Eisenhorn's Pokemon. Before being enslaved as a demon host, Cherubael enslaved entire star systems for thousands of years and genocided entire species. He did these multiple times, so he was pretty pissy when the fallen Inquisitor Quixos trapped him and bound him within a demon host, a controversial method of forcing a demon to serve you whilst keeping yourself free of corruption. Eisenhorn fought Cherubael, banished him, but then said fuck this bitch and resummoned and rebound the demon. They ended up having a complicated relationship. Eisenhorn hated Cherubael because he was a fucking asshole demon. Cherubael hated Eisenhorn because he kept binding him. But after saving each other's lives on multiple occasions and going on a lot of epic adventures, Cherubael and Eisenhorn actually seemed to somewhat get along, having solid banter, with Eisenhorn treating him like a guard dog. As a grim side note, Eisenhorn used his best friend's body as the host for Cherubael, so every time he looks at the demon, he has to look upon the friend he betrayed. I have no doubt Cherubael would kill Eisenhorn without hesitation if he was ever freed, but while trapped he plays pretty nice. It's unclear how Cherubael was created. Some theories are biblical, as he was once called the cherub of Baal, so perhaps was born of the sacrifice of children to an ancient demonic god. If you've read any of the Horus Heresy, there is probably one name you're fucking sick of. Samus. Samus is here. Samus, shut the fuck up, Samus. Although initially appearing to be a demon of Khorne, we actually discover that Samus appears to be the first and maybe only demon of the Dark King, a potential chaos god that the Emperor nearly became. Samus was born when Garviel Loken was shanked in the back and killed by Erebus in what can only be described as the most fucking bullshit and annoying moment in all of the Horus Heresy. Fuck Erebus, fuck the writers. The death of Garviel created Samus, who became timeless in the warp and went back and helped kick off the events of everything. It's supposed to look like this clever time loop thing, but it's just a pain in the ass. After the heresy, Samus hasn't done a whole lot, as his purpose kind of fizzled out with Garviel gone and the Dark King's birth being aborted. However, he still rears his ugly head from time to time, only to get smacked back down. Next up is Chaos Jesus, aka Madail. Hallelujah. Madail was a wildly powerful demon who was trapped on the world of Pythos for countless millennia. Chaos needed Madail in order to try corrupt Sanguinius or at least slow down the Loyalists from reaching Terra, so they enacted a scheme that baited some Iron Hands and other Shattered Legion forces to Pythos during the heresy, where they unwittingly took a part in the freeing of Madail, who slew them all. Madail then went on to confront Sanguinius, Guilliman and the Lion, almost wiping out the 3 Loyalist legions and using some of the most bullshit Chaos hacks I've ever seen in my entire life. The 3 brothers eventually kick the absolute shit out of Madail, break through his hacks, and then the Sanguinor ascends to become an angel, also kicking the shit out of Madail in the process. Despite the absolute smackdown, Madail would appear during the Siege of Terra alongside pretty much every other demon to exist, however hasn't been seen or mentioned since. The Chaos Gods are likely retrapping or disposing of him after his task was completed, as they don't really like too many undivided demons running around. It's unclear what his origins were, however he was extremely old and fancied himself the Dark Messiah and Herald of Chaos. Demon Primarchs are still demons, with 2 of the Demon Primarchs actually being undivided. Lorgar is the first. He had a very holistic approach to chaos, praising the Pantheon equally as opposed to a single god. He never would have accepted the ascension from a single god, as that was completely against his philosophy of chaos. As such, Lorgar managed to carry the favour of all 4 gods and ascend as a Demon Prince of Chaos Undivided, although it seemed like out of nagging and pity rather than Lorgar doing anything particularly epic to warrant it. After ascending, he instantly entered a deep meditation for 10,000 years, only briefly leaving it to get his ass handed to him by Korax before returning to his tower. Apparently he's out and about now causing a ruckus, but until we see a new model, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. And finally, we have the demon Primarch Perturabo. Perturabo doesn't particularly fit in with any one god, and to keep the great game fair, each Chaos god has already claimed one demon Primarch, and it would cause a big issue if they tried to claim another. Nurgle actually sent an envoy to see if Perturabo wished to be a demon prince of Nurgle, to which Perturabo refused by destroying the envoy. After the Siege of Terra, Perturabo wanted to become the ultimate living weapon, so after the events of the Iron Cage, he sacrificed a bunch of Imperial Fist gene seed to the Chaos gods, and they granted him his wish. There's also a theory that Perturabo was dying due to the wound he got during the events of Angel Exterminatus, and that the only way to save his life was to become a demon prince, similar situation to that of Angron. Perturabo is currently described as massive, like a Primarch dreadnought, with pallid, pale, ghoulish flesh that looks like it's suffering from necrosis. Despite that, the dude is still kicking ass. Interestingly, out of all the Undivided demons, the only ones that are still allowed to fuck about are the demon Primarchs, the sneaky Be'lakor, and Vashtorr since the gods can't control him, also Cherubael by the virtue of Eisenhorn. Looking at this, it seems like they don't like letting Undivided demons roam free, as they act as a bit of a wildcard in the great game. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Last Lunar Wolf, a stunning model available right now. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more demonic content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.